You there. Ever do this endless scrolling, achieve something big, or buy that thing you craved, only to feel a faint, hollow echo where the joy should be? That nagging sense of still not quite it? And then just abandoned it like you're thinking about doing to this video now? You're not broken, and you're definitely not alone. What if I told you this modern emptiness isn't new, but a ghost from two of history's most dazzling ages? And that by understanding their hidden psychological toll, we can finally decipher why, for so many of us, nothing truly feels good anymore, and what it really means. Let's first dive into the heart of the Roman Empire. Imagine the roar of the Colosseum, not just for gladiators, but for naumachii. This was a huge event where the arena itself was flooded with water. Real warships clashed, and men drowned by the hundreds, all for a crowd desperate for the next spectacle. The historian Cassius Dio tells of Emperor Trajan staging games with 10,000 gladiators. It was bread and circuses escalated into a sensory arms race. And after all that, they would go home, back to lives that did not feel quite as fulfilling without the contests. The Roman citizen, assaulted by ever grander, ever bloodier stimuli, was living out what we now understand as dopamine desensitization. Their brains, as neuroscientist Dr. Andrew Huberman might explain, needed a bigger hit each time just to feel something. Simple pleasures drowned out. Seneca, even earlier, warned, pleasure, unless it has been kept within bounds, tends to rush headlong into the abyss of sorrow. A few years ago, I was constantly chasing the next experience. Exotic travel, extreme sports. Each one was a thrill, but the baseline kept creeping up, leaving a weird numbness in its wake. That Roman relentless pursuit of external highs, it seems, just hollowed out the capacity for everyday good. Now, let's leap 1,000 years to the Renaissance. Michelangelo wrestled with marble for years, reportedly sleeping in his boots, consumed by an inner fire. Giorgio Vasari, in his Lives of the Artists, describes Leonardo da Vinci, a universal genius, leaving behind notebooks bursting with breathtaking concepts. Yet, so many masterpieces were left unfinished. This wasn't external bombardment, this was an internal tempest. What is called a divine discontent, the impossible pursuit of perfection, the crushing weight of a vision so profound it could barely be translated by human hands. When I got into music production, I spent months trying to capture the exact sound I heard in my head. The more I did, despite all the praise people gave me, the more I saw the gap between what I imagined and what I was actually listening to. The joy of making was lost in that chasm of perfection. For these titans, even their earth-shattering achievements could feel like pale shadows of their internal ideal. Good enough was an alien concept. You can tell now that a similar kind of emptiness faced humans across very different eras. So, when you feel that sense of nothing quite hits the spot, do you think it's more often driven by a hunger for new external experiences, like the Romans, or by an internal pressure to meet an almost impossible standard, like the Renaissance masters? I'd be fascinated to read your thoughts in the comments. There's no right answer, just our shared human experience. So, what does this tell us? We see the Roman psyche, potentially dulled by an endless feast of sensation, and the Renaissance spirit, perhaps tormented by an unquenchable thirst for the sublime. Dr. Kent Berridge's distinction between wanting, that is, dopamine-driven pursuit, and liking, that is, the actual experience of pleasure, is crucial here. Rome became a culture of frantic wanting. Its ability to genuinely like eroded. The Renaissance genius, fueled by an almost sacred wanting for perfection, might have found the simple liking of their monumental efforts painfully elusive. It seems whether we're drowning in external stimuli or wrestling with internal demigods, our deep-seated capacity for contentment can take a serious hit. And this right here is why nothing feels good anymore for so many. These ancient dynamics aren't just historical footnotes. They're the supercharged operating system of our modern lives. Our Colosseum, it's the glowing rectangle in our pocket, the infinite scroll promising one more hit of novelty, one more fleeting connection. Our brains, just like the Romans, adapting to crave more while feeling less. We're awash in a digital naumachia of content. And our Renaissance studio? It's the curated, flawless facade of social media, the relentless grind culture, demanding we all be Da Vinci's of our own lives, constantly innovating, optimizing, performing. The divine discontent is now democratized, an inner critic whispering to millions that they're not quite enough. So, what does this mean, and how do we find our way back to feeling good? It means, critically, that this isn't your fault. It's a human vulnerability, now exploited and amplified. Understanding this is the antidote. So, if we were to learn a cure from the Romans, what would be the lesson? Consciously step off the stimulus escalator. Practice what Cal Newport calls digital minimalism. Cultivate the ability to enjoy the mundane, the quiet, the simple. A walk without a podcast, a meal without a screen. Resensitize yourself to subtle joys. And from the Renaissance, we learn the beauty of imperfection, the grace in good enough. Dr. Brené Brown's work on vulnerability and imperfection reminds us that striving is human, but self-flagellation for not being superhuman is a recipe for misery. Embrace the process, not just the idealized outcome. Ultimately, nothing feels good anymore is often a cry from a part of us starved for genuine connection, for meaning beyond the next thrill or the next achievement. The path to feeling good again isn't about finding more or becoming perfect. It's about rediscovering what truly nourishes us, reclaiming our attention, and allowing ourselves to be human, beautifully, imperfectly, and authentically so. If you like this dive into human psychology through history, please consider liking and subscribing for more videos like this. Thanks for watching Historic Psychology, and I'll see you on the next one.